Hey guys, so now we're going to talk about the digitally lettered text that we found in our text set. I'm going to be focusing largely on our essential question, which is what we've been talking about, which is the economy and the music business and how all of that has worked through physical sales of albums and CDs as opposed to online streaming services that have recently come up. And basically, these articles are going to show you all of the differences in new technology and how that has, in some ways, um, messed with the economy just a little bit. But one of the things that I will touch on as well is the differences in how we made music, how music is being made now as opposed to how it was back in like the 1970s. Um, so, yeah, let's get into it. So, the first one that we're going to talk about is insider.com. And this article is about how CD album sales have declined. Meanwhile, the use of online streaming services have skyrocketed. So, in a 2019 study, I believe it was a report that they found that it was 80% of overall music sales had been through online streaming services, through Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, things like that. Whereas the CD physical sale has been about 9%, that's a big difference than where it was in the 1970s when all you had was albums and concerts and things to go to. The next article that we had was about Amazon and how they got into the streaming service when they offered an HD version of a streaming service on their platform a few years ago, which took away even more of the physical sales and all that stuff. They took even more of the physical sales of the CDs when people started using Amazon Prime for Amazon Music accounts. And then we got into the Rolling Stones digitally lettered text, which basically was talking about these streaming platforms and how they've been keeping money from artists just because with streaming platforms, artists don't make as much because there is no physical sale. It goes through the platform itself. And certain platforms like Apple Music, it's just a monthly fee. So they're really not paying for the music. They're downloading it and then paying a certain amount each month to Apple. Other streaming services, Spotify does the same thing. Amazon does the same thing. Every once in a while, you'll have an iTunes user who does pay for the physical song, which is a bit more of a payout, but overall, it's still their payouts are definitely diminished with the ease of streaming services as opposed to physical CDs. So I no longer have to go out and buy the CD. All I have to do is download it on my phone and I have it. And that takes away a lot of the payout from artists. And the last one that we talked about, that we're going to talk about, is from the New York Times, and it is about the rising technology overall and how that's taken over the music industry as a whole. Back in the 60s and 70s, you had the Beatles, who, while they would sit in the studio and they would create walls of sound and stuff like that with Phil Spector. It still changed from, even all of those technological things that they had then, those tools. They've gotten to a point now where there was an example of the Chainsmokers, and that's a recent artist that's come out, and they don't use many instruments at all. Actually, all of theirs is produced by technology. It's not produced by any instrument itself, except for a sound on a laptop or a technologically based keyboard. But yeah, those are our digitally lettered texts. And yeah, so we talked about how CD album sales have declined and how the streaming services have skyrocketed. And then our next one was about Amazon offering the HD version of a streaming service, and then how the artist payout has diminished. And now they're using technologically based instruments as opposed to real ones.